Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another pro tip. I gotta get my glove on. Okay, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. It's a beautiful day, and I'm so glad to be outside again. See if I can get Salt Lake Valley here. Salt Lake Valley. The Bountiful Temple. The scenery behind my back. And the Bountiful Temple behind me. Anyways, I thought of a subject I want to talk about. And let's get this notification off my screen. See if it. Anyways, I want to talk about a little. Yesterday when I was working, I came out for lunch, and it was in the evening, of course, and my wife was watching Japanese television. And she was watching a program. It was a panel of a couple of experts, plus a lot of entertainment industry guys. And I tell you, these guys have been, a lot of them have, ever since I've been in Japan, have been on television 40, 50 years. Maybe not 50, it seems like 50 years. I've been married 40 years, so I went to Japan probably 43 years ago or something like that. Anyways, these experts were talking about the life expectancy in Japan, and also and saying how since like the end of World War II, I think, I can't remember if that was years, the life expectancy of the Japanese was somewhere just over 60 years, something like that. And now we're approaching like 100 years. Maybe that's not the average. The average is in the 80s. But he was talking about, he says, you need to plan your life as if you're going to live to 100 years old. And he says, in Japan now, who knows, but I think it bears repeating. He says the prime working years in Japan, 70 years old. Okay? In the United States, when people get to be about 70, they're planning for their demise. They're slowing down. They're starting to act the part. And because they act the part, they kind of shrivel up and die. And he says, he says, we live in a time when living to 100 is not rare at all. And he said the next generation, what did he say, 30-40% of those who are teenagers now, 30 to 40% will live to be 100. He says lives are getting longer, and he says the prime working years, in Japanese, hataraki zakari, when they're like the prime, it's like 70, a sweet spot is 70 years old. And it just made me think. Recently I've started back skiing after 4 years away from the ski slopes, and I just want to talk about what was the inspiration to me. My wife used to work at a famous Japanese restaurant here in town, and the owner, who's now 86, I swear he's in better shape than I am. This got a zest for life. He's got energy. He still skis. I thought, oh my gosh. If he can ski, I can ski. So, my son-in-law had been kind of egging me on to go back skiing, and he started skiing just a few years ago, and he's a California boy and is loving this snow and learning how to enjoy winter in Utah. And those of us who are born and raised in Utah don't even enjoy Utah, the winters. So I said, okay. And he's stuck with having to go skiing. He'd get a season pass. His last 3 years, I think, he's got season pass, and he's tired of going alone. So I said, okay, Tim, I'll get back up there. And after meeting my wife's old boss, 86 years old, and he's still skiing, I said, if he can do it, I can do it. So, anyways, it's a mindset. My wife has turned me on to I haven't been watching much lately, but a 94 or 5-year-old fitness instructor in Japan. That's kind of another motivation of mine. And she has more energy than I do. I kind of took the approach that, well, I haven't. If she can do it, I can do it. So I've tried to make some changes in my life, but here in the States, people in my own family, people my mother, my father, my sister, they all died around 74, 76, and for different reasons. But it's like, oh my heavens, I don't want to plan on that. So my advice to you, hot tip, my pro tip of the day is take the approach, and this is what these Japanese experts said, take the approach that you're going to live forever. You won't, of course, but take that approach and approach life as if you're going to live forever, making plans, challenging new things, learning new things, staying active. If you do this, you're going to live a long and happy life. You know, I just think there's wisdom in this. The mindset is so different in Japan. The older generation, they're so active. They're so active. You go to the parks, you go to walking on the streets. Sometimes you see, when I was a missionary in Japan, I remember seeing old women, bent over like this with a back load of firewood or something. I don't know what they were selling, or they were doing something. They're bent over like this because I think they probably worked in the fields and they could barely walk, but they're walking. Not barely walk. They can walk fine, but they're just bent over because they broke their backs in the rice fields or something. Not broke, literally broke their back. They stay active. So I think that's a good thing. And so that's my pro tip of the day. Yeah. Plan your life as if you're going to live forever. Stay active like you're going to live forever. And boy, there's these people on television in Japan that have been on for 40, 50 years, and they're still on. Of course, they still dye their hair jet black, and It's, I guess in Japan it's a kind of letting your hair go gray for a lot of people. I should say this. For a lot of people, is like a sign of giving up or something. Oh, I wanted to say one more thing. When I was working in Japan for Honda, I don't know how old this guy was, but I swear there's this guy who's bald. He was balding, obviously, and it looked like he had applied some black wax to his head. It was clearly a waxy, artificial material that he applied to his head. And I asked others about it that worked in it, and they said it was like a spray bottle. He would spray paint. I mean, kind of waxy, almost like a ski wax. It looked so odd. It was like, but that's kind of the attitude that a lot of Japanese have. They don't want, they don't want to. The sign of weakness is what to go gray or something like that. That's funny. That's just a funny little story about. But the principle of the thing is not bad, Stay young. Stay young. I'm getting back to skiing, and my grandkids are now went skiing for the first time. I posted that video a while back. But it's so good to see. My son-in-law, I guess he has a kind of his personal goal to get everybody in the family up skiing and up on the mountain. And I think it's a good idea. So I'm gonna, I'm not gonna twist any arms. When we were first married, I had a bad experience. Took my wife night skiing. I was a bad teacher, bad husband, bad. Oh my heavens! Night skiing up at Solitude, Utah. There's the easy hill, Bunny Hill. It was only easy at the very beginning, and it gets kind of steep at the very end. It's called Sunbeam. It was Moonbeam. Moonbeam. My wife has this bad experience and ended up taking off her skis and hiking down the hill on her first run, and sat the rest of the night in the lodge. I felt so bad. So my advice to you is, unless you know what you're doing as a ski instructor, don't try to teach your spouse how to ski. Have somebody else do it. It was a disaster. I ruined her. But hopefully, my daughters will try to get into it and get everybody up on the mountain this year. So that's my pro tip, and I'm sticking to it. How long was that? It was 13 minutes. Wow. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.